The episode opens with Yoshiki and Hikaru offering incense to their ancestors. But Hikaru wants to eat the offerings. Luckily, Yoshiki stops him before he does. But let's get to the main point. After being saved by Miss Kure from the ghost, Yoshiki is talking to her while Hikaru is still unconscious. Miss Kure says she's surprised that Hikaru seems normal. Not scary at all, now that she's up close. Suddenly, her eyes land on a bruise on Yoshiki's hand. Before she can ask, Yoshiki thanks her for saving them and asks what just happened. Where did that ghost come from? He seems really haunted by it. So Miss Kure tells Yoshiki the truth. It's a type of curse caused by an ancient and extremely powerful form of impurities. Luckily, she got there in time to drive it away. Yoshiki doesn't understand what impurities are, so she explains they're a type of ghost or spirit. She says there's a very fine line between our world and theirs. If there's a small disruption, that line will crack, and the souls and feelings of the dead will spill over. So what she does is drive them back to their world and patch up the cracks. But she's not a god, so she can't get rid of them permanently. Then she tells Yoshiki that both he and Hikaru attract these impurities. It's like they're lightning rods. But instead of lightning, they're attracting the impurities. She thinks that when Hikaru was on the mountain, he was attracting a large amount of impurities, which is why Kubitachi Village was safe. But now that Hikaru is here, their village is having more and more strange things happen. Yoshiki quickly guesses that those strange things are caused by the impurities. Not Hikaru. Ms. Kure agrees, but the number of impurities is increasing, which is not normal at all. After a while, Hikaru wakes up. He seems very tense. Yoshiki tries to calm him down, probably not wanting Hikaru to hurt Ms. Kure now that she knows about him. But surprisingly, Hikaru says he won't hurt her, or more accurately, he can't do anything to her. Ms. Kure then offers Hikaru some sweets to calm him down, and he eats so much he completely forgets his stress. While Hikaru is eating, Ms. Kure asks him what he is. But the problem is, Hikaru himself doesn't know what he is. So Ms. Kure doesn't push him and instead tells him a story about how her husband also came back after he died. Just like him, one night, her son suddenly says that his dad made him a cool figurine. Even though she knew what was happening, she thought it was okay to delay for a little while. But then, the father in that body hurt her precious son. At that moment, she knew she was wrong. Even though her husband's soul was in there, it was just an impurity. Nothing more. But Hikaru's case is completely different. He is not an impurity. And she even thinks that Hikaru is something that has crossed the line of life and death. A true mystery. Yoshiki then asks Ms. Kure if she knows anything about the god Inuki. But to his surprise, she doesn't know anything about it. Putting that aside, she seriously says that if these impurities keep appearing, a lot of people are going to die. So she asks the two boys if they have a plan. That question makes both of them fall into a deep thought. Hikaru doesn't understand the meaning of life, so he thinks it's normal for someone to die. If it gets dangerous, he'll just run. But the problem is, Yoshiki won't do that, and if it's important to Yoshiki, he thinks it's important to him too. After thinking for a while, Hikaru confidently says that he's finally found a place where he belongs. So he's going to do his best to protect it. Yoshiki hears this and wants to stand by Hikaru, no matter what happens. Besides, Yoshiki doesn't want to see anyone else get hurt. Ms. Kure is also very happy to see that the two boys are so good to each other and that they love the village. She holds both of their hands and says they need to plan carefully. At that moment, she also feels the difference coming from Hikaru. Meanwhile, Tanaka arrives at the location of the bell he saw earlier. It's the same bell that the long-necked ghost who attacked Hikaru and Yoshiki had. When it sees Tanaka, it immediately possesses him, but that seems to be what Tanaka wants. He doesn't resist and tries to see the ghost's memories. Through them, he learns that Hikaru tried to save Yoshiki but failed. Back with the three of them, it's getting late, so they say goodbye and head home. But Ms. Kure secretly tells Hikaru not to let Yoshiki get mixed up with things anymore, or he won't be able to return to the human world. Then the two boys walk home, hanging out and buying snacks and candy. When they get back, Yoshiki says he wants to go somewhere alone and tells Hikaru to go home first. It turns out Yoshiki is going to the storage shed where he and Hikaru used to play when they were kids. But now it's the place with the gravestone of the real Hikaru. Yoshiki brings some sweets and places them in front of it and says, "Just a little bit for you." After all, since the new Hikaru is still here, no one is really grieving for the old Hikaru. But the current Hikaru still followed him there. He wonders what the difference is between him and the old Hikaru. Yoshiki says the old Hikaru was much better at reading the situation, was more reserved, and a lot smarter. But the biggest difference is that the old Hikaru couldn't come back to life. But the new Hikaru can. Suddenly, Hikaru asks Yoshiki, "Did you like the old Hikaru?" This makes Yoshiki speechless. Then he calmly grabs Hikaru's collar and says, "You don't need to worry about my feelings." But that seems to make Hikaru a bit sad. So Yoshiki says that everyone is different. Even if Hikaru isn't human, he doesn't care anymore. In other words, Yoshiki now wants Hikaru to not be human. But Yoshiki knows it's very dangerous to let Hikaru stay in the village. But instead of forcing him to be human, Yoshiki wants Hikaru to find a place where he can be himself. Later, the two boys continue to research the god Inuki. They remember that after the famine, the villagers turned their backs on the god Inuki. Could the god be sealed up there on the mountain? It's possible, but Yoshiki is confused by what Hikaru's grandpa said about something called Hichi. There are not many clues, so they are struggling, but currently, Hikaru is like a lightning rod, attracting impurities as if he were a powerful demonic entity from hell. Or maybe even a god. Talking about it isn't helping. So suddenly Hikaru seriously says that if his coming down from the mountain caused the impurities to flood the village, maybe he should go back up the mountain. But Yoshiki says, "Are you crazy? You just found a place where you belong. Don't be stupid." Yoshiki believes that with the help of Ms. Kure and by researching the god Inuki, they will find a solution and also figure out what Hikaru is and why he attracts impurities. Hikaru seems a bit less tense now. After that, they decide to go talk to Mr. Takeda. They know it's hard to meet him, but it's worth a try. But when they get there, Mr. Takeda's family says he's hiding and doesn't want to see anyone. Out of options, Hikaru quickly remembers Ms. Kure saying to use her name, so he tries it. To their surprise, when Mr. Takeda's family hears Ms. Kure's name, they get excited and go to tell him. The two boys are then invited in to talk to Mr. Takeda. He doesn't care about anything else. He just wants the two boys to invite Ms. Kure to come here. He says after Mrs. Matsura, he's next. This makes Hikaru not believe him, even though he's the one who took care of Mrs. Matsura. Old man Takeda says that a wave of impurities is coming and that the men of the Indo family will have to take responsibility for it. He says that many years ago, a blasphemous act by the Indo family caused many people to die. That's why the Indo men have to go up the mountain to atone for their sins. While Mr. Takeda is very angry, Yoshiki thinks back to the famine in 1749. Mr. Takeda then tells them it wasn't just a famine. The shameful prayer caused that thing to become furious. But Hikaru doesn't know anything about it, so he asks what the Indo family did. This makes Mr. Takeda furious. He can't believe a member of the Indo family doesn't know anything about it. And no wonder the ritual failed. Yoshiki tries to protect Hikaru, but Hikaru realizes the old man is possessed. He says that when he went up the mountain, he saw it right there. Then he turns into a demon, pulls out the sword that Tanaka gave him, and wants to get rid of the two boys. Just then, Tanaka appears and stops him, snatching the sword. He then wants to confirm something, so he uses the sword to cleanly slice off Hikaru's head. Yoshiki slowly grabs Hikaru's CPU, and can't believe his friend has been split in half.